Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of NLE Ninja Effects. It's been a while since my last real tutorial, and I've had a lot going on. In that time, however, I've gotten close to 1,300 subscribers since I started doing these tutorials a year ago. I owe it to all of you to continue on this journey. As you saw in the intro, this is Volume 4 of Music Video Effects, but there's a change this time. We're not doing this in Final Cut Pro 7, but we're doing this in CS6. I've spent the last few months translating Final Cut Pro 7-like effects into Premiere Pro and developed a collection of 9 effects you can use in your next music video, montage reel, commercial, and more. I will also try to provide some links to third-party sites after each effect so you can download a trial or purchase and expand your creative options. Some effects may look familiar as they've been shown before in previous volumes, but I've made some minor tweaks to them. So enough talk, let's roll the preview. Photoshop will also play a part in one of our effects, and I'll break down what I did. I'll be using the NLE Ninja shortcuts CS6 that I gave a link to from my previous tutorial, Working Faster in Premiere Pro 2, which you can download and install on your system. I will also separate this volume into 3 separate videos, so it doesn't run a full hour of me talking and explaining everything. Let's move on to our first effect, Blink and Posterize. You may remember this effect from Music Video Effects Volume 2, where you place one video on top of the other and apply a blink filter. Unfortunately, Premiere Pro doesn't have a blink filter. Instead, they have a filter called Strobe Light, which does the same thing if you work the parameters properly. I have 2 clips in my timeline, one clip superimposed on top of the other. That clip will be the one we apply the strobe light filter to. Before we do that, let's cut the clip on track 1 where the clip on track 2 starts and ends by hitting the custom keyboard shortcut Shift-Command-K to add edits. After we've done that, select the clip on track 2. Go to your effects browser and type in strobe light. Double-click the filter to apply it to track 2. Let's go to our effects control panel. Change the strobe duration to 0.15. Change the strobe period to 0.25. Finally, change the strobe to Makes Layer Transparent. Once you move the playhead over the clip, it starts blinking between clips 1 and 2, just like the FCP7 blink filter would. If you want to adjust the rate of the strobe, you modify the strobe duration and period. We're not quite done just yet. Let's add a Posterize time filter to our clip on track 1. Select your clip on track 1. Let's go to the effects browser. Let's type in Posterize time. Select the filter and double click it. Change the frame rate to somewhere between 15 to 19. If we scrub our playhead across our two clips, when clip 2 strobes, clip 1 will play at a different frame rate than it's supposed to. Let's set an in and out point so we can see this in real time. I'm going to render this and then show you guys the final result. Let's see what we have. There you go, a nice strobe and posterized time effect to use in your next montage or music video. Genart Sapphire version 6 has a nice transition that can perform the blink effect called flutter cut. It has more straightforward parameters than a strobe light filter and would probably be a preferred choice in a project scenario. You could download a trial of Sapphire version 6 or Sapphire Edge version 2 from genarts.com and try it out for yourself. Let's move on to our next effect, Logo Bug Transition. This effect is seen on a lot of broadcasts, commercials, and more. You have a logo placed at either the lower left or right side of the screen. When you need to transition to another clip and a straight cut won't do it, you animate the logo wiping to the next shot and have it end up on the opposite side. Let's create that right now. I have two clips on track 1 with a straight cut between them. I have this high-res logo from the Creative Cow website that I'm going to be using in this example on track 2. It's best to have a high-res image so that you can affect the scale without it getting pixelated and messy. Let's position it to the lower left side of the screen and bring the scale down to 30. Let's go to the effects browser. Type in Basic 3D. Double-click to apply it to the logo. We're going to set keyframes for the swivel parameter in the Basic 3D filter, but we're also going to affect the position and scale in the motion parameters. Move the playhead from the in point of the logo about a second in. Set a keyframe for scale and position at their current values. Move the playhead about 13 frames and set keyframes for the same parameters. Change the scale to about 130 and move the logo towards the left so that it covers about half the screen. Move the playhead 10 frames forward. Change the position so that it covers the other half of the screen. Leave the scale at its current value, but set a keyframe for that. Move the playhead about 12 frames. Change the scale back to around 30 and position the logo on the lower right hand side. We have the logo moving from one side to another, and it's close to covering up the cut as we want. Before we proceed, if you feel the need to make any adjustments, do so now. Next, let's add a wipe transition at the cut. Let's go to our effects browser. Let's go to Video Transitions. Let's go to Wipe, and select the wipe transition. Apply it to your cut on track 1. Select the wipe transition and go to your effects control panel. Change its duration to 13 frames. Shift the transition between the second and third keyframes of scale in position. Once we do that, the edge wipe should cover the cut and move along with the logo movement. Next, let's add some 3D rotation. Select your logo on track 2. Let's go to the effects control panel. Add a keyframe for swivel a little after the second scale keyframe. Leave the value at 0. Set another keyframe a few frames after the third scale keyframe. Change that value to 360. Select your 2 swivel keyframes. Right-click and select Bezier. Now, if we set an in and out point around the length of our animation, we can render this and see what it looks like in real time. I'm going to do that right now. Let's see the final result. There you go, a nice logo bug transition effect happening across our clips. You can use this on a commercial, montage, you name it. Unfortunately, the only third-party plugin that I know of which would allow you to animate logos and such more freely is available through FX Factory and is called SuperWipe. This plugin was created by the fine folks of iDestro Revolution and is available for After Effects on the Mac. But creating this manually, like we just did, is something I tend to do on a regular basis. Let's move on to our next effect, video feedback and push away. You may remember this effect from Volume 1 and Volume 3, as I've done variations of the video feedback effect. This effect takes what I've done in Volume 1 and changes how they disappear. With your video on track 1, Option drag 5 duplicates and place the duplicates on tracks 2 through 6. Let's move the playhead 10 frames from the endpoint. Deselect track 1 and trim the endpoint to the playhead's position by hitting the custom hotkey Ctrl-I. Deselect track 2 and move the playhead 2 frames forward. Press Ctrl-I once again. I'm going to repeat these steps by moving the playhead 2 frames forward, deselecting the last track, and trimming from the playhead's position. I'll be back with you guys in just a second. After you've offset the endpoints of the duplicates, let's change the scale of our clip from tracks 2 through 6. For track 2, let's bring the scale down to 90. For track 3, bring the scale down to 72. For track 4, bring the scale down to 54. For track 5, bring the scale down to 36. And finally, for track 6, bring the scale down to 18. Now, when we move our playhead across our clips, we'll get the feedback effect. Next, let's push our duplicates away. Let's move our playhead to the out point of our clips. Move the playhead back 18 more frames. Highlight all your tracks and then deselect track 1. trim to the out point of your clips by pressing the hotkey Ctrl-O. Let's add push transitions at the end of each of our duplicates. Give each push transition a duration of about 14 frames. Next, we're going to have a vice versa pattern for how our clips push away. For the transition on track 6, make sure it's set to image B pushes image A to the right. For track 5, make sure it's vice versa. I'm going to follow this pattern all the way down to track 2. Once we have that, we will trim the out point of our clips on tracks 2 through 6, 5 frames, like so. After you've done that, you should have your clips leaving the screen in a staggering fashion, like so. Next, we're going to add a bevel alpha, drop shadow, and tint to our clips. Let's highlight all our clips on tracks 2 through 6. Let's go to the effects browser. Type in bevel alpha. Double-click the filter to apply it to our clips. Next, we're going to add drop shadow. Double-click to add it to our clips. And finally, type in tint. And double-click to add it to our clips. Let's go through our clips and change the bevel thickness to 6. As for drop shadow, leave it at its default values. For tint, change the map white 2 to taste. I'm going to do that real quickly right now. After you applied your tint choices, let's set an in and out point for the range of our effect and render it out to see it in real time. Let's see what we have. There you go, another variation of the video feedback effect for use in your next project. For Premiere Pro, you can try Boris Effects Trails plugin for video feedback, but in After Effects, there are more options such as Echo Space and the filters from the Image Lounge set. Check them out at redgiantsoftware.com. Well, this concludes the first part of Music Video Effects Volume 4. I'll see you guys in Part 2, where the next effects are Inverted Misalignment, Instant Replay version 2, and Passing Extruded Text. Before we end it, I would like you guys to check out lucavisualeffects.com. It's your source for light leaks, film leaders, plugins, and more. You can go to lucavisualeffects.com or purchase his products at toolfarm.com. Nonetheless, a must-have for the creative editor.